Pigweed here. Today we review an ESB and discuss 5 different things. Hello and welcome to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. What's on your mind, Crowhill?
Too many things are on my mind. As a matter of fact, I didn't sleep well last night. I had
so many things.
So many things
So you
on
want to talk about all of them?
I want to talk about, well, not all of them.
Okay.
Because some of them would not be appropriate for the PNC show. But yeah, too many things on my mind. And we have a custom every once in a while. We kind of go through our list of topics and we take some of them that we just got to get them out of the way.
Well, good. We got to clear the docket.
Clear the docket. That's right.
And, we'll do 5 of them for 5 minutes each. Except for the first topic. Which might take a little bit longer, but that's okay. So, my goodness, that is a gorgeous looking beer.
So this is my homebrew extra special bitter, and it's a English style, and I've recently realized that this is kind of my go-to style. I like ESBs.
It is a great style.
Yeah, and
so this beer is beautiful in color. Have you refined this? This is the one that you took the 5-gallon recipe and then just brewed 3 gallons of it.
No, this is a brand new recipe.
Oh, okay.
Created from scratch.
And there's good. What's hops wise? I imagine it's old.
Yeah, Fuggles and East Kent Golding, regular English hops. I used
Maris Otter.
No, I actually used the Viking 2-row pale malt.
Okay.
Which I kind of like better. You know, if you're looking at the malts, sometimes I'll just take a couple of the grains and chew on them and see what I like about the flavor. And I don't know if that's a good measure or not. I've been told that works pretty well. But the Viking malt I like. And I used Danstar yeast, which isn't as popular, but I really like it for English ales. It settles down into a good cake at the bottom of the fermenter. And it does a really good job. Now, I like this, but I think maybe it's a touch too hoppy.
Huh. Well,
what do you think?
Well, I'm not really... I don't really know the style so much. But I like that level of hoppiness. And I think it's lovely. So this... And you keg this.
Yes.
And what did you just put it... You just put it in a travel jug?
Yeah, I just
all right.
poured it into my little
and now it's available for you to just pour at your leisure.
At my leisure, anytime. That's the good thing about kegging. Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was the bad thing about kegging. But yes,
that's right.
It depends on your level of self-control.
That's correct. But I like this. It's good. I think I might tinker with the recipe and give it another try. But right. I think it's a good first attempt at an ESB.
Very good. Well. We could have done a News for Booze.
Yeah.
On
the Trump assassination attempt.
Yes, but I just felt like everybody in the world's doing it, but I still couldn't keep my lips closed.
Yeah.
We have to say something about it, and can I start?
Yes.
You took a philosophy class, and there even if you only took a 101 philosophy class, there is going to be a section on ethics.
Yes.
And there will be something like this that says, yes, we all know that murder is wrong.
Yeah.
But what if you had a time machine?
Yeah.
How does the rest of this thing go?
Yeah. If you could go back in time and kill Hitler before he,
Okay, so that's what everybody has done it because it's the standard story of saying that no standards actually exist.
Everybody has asked this question.
There is an exception to things, and so there's no in ethics.
Yeah.
It's not 100%. Yada yada yada. So this is 100 level.
This is what we call sophomoric, because this is the kind of thing sophomores talk about.
Precisely.
Right.
That's what the term means.
Yes.
And then, so what if the entire political class on one side, in one party, all of the heads, all of the mainstream media, who is just a wing of this party, calls somebody Hitler for 8 years.
Right.
What do you think... What do you think you're saying?
Yeah.
What do you think you're saying? You've got 81 million Democrat voters. You don't think somebody out there takes you seriously and applies this level of sophomoric philosophy?
It's not just that he's Hitler. It's also this will be the last election.
Is it the end of, basically the end of America?
This is the end of America. This is the end of democracy. He's going to be a dictator for life.
Yes.
I mean, the kinds of things that the left have been saying about Trump are precisely, this guy must be destroyed one way or another.
Yes, and you've used that language throughout.
Yeah.
Without actually saying it. You've implied it. You are the guy who pulled the trigger is responsible, but you are 100% complicit.
Yes.
In this.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, if I walk into a bad neighborhood and have $100 bills stapled all over my body, right? And somebody comes up and robs me, well, it's his fault. But boy, I'm an idiot for doing that. And that's exactly the same kind of thing, is when people are saying, this guy's Hitler, this guy's, you know, all these things. Well, you are setting up the situation where somebody is going to...
A threat. End of democracy, end of everything. And you are 100% complicit in this.
Yes.
And you are disgusting human beings who have still not acknowledged your complicity.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the kind of thing that the media frequently tosses against the right, where they'll say that you created a climate of hate for blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I mean...
While people on your side have been rioting on your behalf for months, and you continue to warn about right-wing violence that simply never happens.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that after someone tried to kill Trump, there hasn't been a riot? No city has been set on fire? Like, if somebody tried to kill Biden, what would the left have done?
Well, yeah, imagine the riots that are going to take place outside of the Democratic National Convention from right-wingers. Now, there will be the pro-Hamas terrorist lovers out there rioting in the streets, but they won't be MAGA types.
No. But this isn't precisely the topic we wanted to talk about today. I mean, it is an important topic, understanding that the Democrats and the media, but I repeat myself, have really set this up. But the real question is, what in the world happened here?
You want to get to the nuts and bolts?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, how could this possibly have happened?
You know, with a $200 drone from Home Depot, you could have surveyed the crowd. You don't need. Of course, you have helicopters at your disposal. You don't even need that.
Yeah.
And nobody was looking from above to see if there are any threats?
So at first, the very same night of the assassination attempt, we knew, based on that BBC report with that one guy, that there was this one guy saying, look, we were pointing. We were saying, there's this guy with a gun right up here, you know, minutes before the shot.
There's video of people pointing, going, there's a guy up there.
Yeah, but it's only gotten worse since then. So that was the night of the shooting.
Yeah.
That we knew
that was already out?
That was out the very night of the shooting. But since then, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And the latest, from what I heard today, was that police knew about this guy an hour before Trump even got on the stage.
We're following him and then lost track of him.
Yeah, and we knew he had a gun and he was a suspicious character.
I didn't care. We're just waltzing around with a 40-foot ladder?
Yeah. Well, actually...
What was the ladder situation?
What I heard today was that there's some dispute about whether he actually had a ladder.
Where'd the ladder come from? How did he get on the roof? I mean, I saw a picture of a ladder leading to the roof.
I did see a picture of a ladder also, but so Dan Bongino today said that he's not so sure about whether he brought his own ladder or he found some other way up to the roof. But anyway, there were so many failures where some of it could have been coordination between the non-Secret Service people and the Secret Service people. So
right. Look, I mean, Secret Service is responsible for X, and then beyond that is our local agencies, which are 100% coordinating with one another. That's
and they're
how
supposed to be, right?
And they all are on the same frequency, and everybody knows we're responsible for this area, and you're responsible for that area. Mm-hmm. How'd you F that up?
Right. So once they had some suspicious character that they were chasing around, why did they, knowing that, why did they let Trump onto the stage?
That's the point. I've heard people say, I mean, why didn't they just take the guy out? I'm like, no, that's
not necessary.
No. You just don't start the.
Just delay it for 10 minutes.
So is there a cop that confronts the guy and then the guy points a gun at him and he backs off and?
Yeah, that happened.
Right? Yeah. I mean, yes, you just go. Sorry, we're going to delay. We're going to delay the speech until we take care of this anomalous thing.
Whatever this
it might be right. I think we've got a guy who might have a telescopic camera taking pictures.
Right.
We don't want to murder him, but let's not put Trump on the stage until we find out what's going on. How about that idea?
Yeah. So there were so many opportunities way before the event even started for them to say, hey, we need to resolve this before we put a presidential candidate out in this position. And it's almost unbelievable how incompetent they were in that respect. So I have another angle on this, which is the DEI angle. And I have two different ways to look at this. One, everybody has seen on the one hand, I don't want to criticize these people. They have taken an oath to lay their lives down to protect the president, and it's an honorable thing. And, I on the one hand, I feel bad criticizing them because they're trying to do honest work. On the other hand,
you don't belong there.
Yeah, you're short, you're fat, you don't know how to holster your weapon. You can't protect the president the way a 6'2" guy can.
Right. Here's this picture here of a woman, a chubby woman, nervously looking around, and the the words are, some badass Green Beret or Navy SEAL was passed up for Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
And it does kind of look like a sitcom, a buddy comedy movie with her dumpy, nervous, fat ass.
Yes.
What in the world?
What
in the world is she doing on this detail? Right. And why is there even a woman in charge, the head of?
Well, that's another thing I want to get to.
Well, please.
So the first thing is, why were these short, not very, very talented women on this detail to begin with?
So President F's sake.
I know.
I mean, I'm sure. Aren't there other details that they could fumble around on?
Yeah. So that's
Jill Biden for him.
Then the other problem is the woman who's in charge of the Secret Service right now.
Yeah.
She apparently has this big initiative. She wants to get 30% of the Secret Service to be women by some date.
That's garbage.
And so she has this big chip on her shoulder.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to get more women in this position. So
wrong.
Yeah. So
zero women.
Think about it from this perspective. For her to resign, she has obviously failed. She should anybody with any sense of self-respect should have resigned after this failure.
You mean like after the Afghanistan debacle and all those people that were fired and resigned?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's
right. Nobody gets fired. Nobody takes any responsibility in government. But if she had any honor, she would resign and move along. But here's the thing: she's looking at this as, I'm promoting women. I have a mission. Her mission is not protecting the people of the Secret Services. Her mission is, I need to promote women in
If this doesn't put a nail in DEI, nothing ever will.
Well,
this is everything that is wrong.
Yeah.
Not only it's not like you're promoting a crappy widget maker who doesn't deserve the position of head widget maker in the widget factory, which is in itself wrong.
Yes.
Now you're going to we've already gone to the second most important person on the planet, the vice president. Everything is about making somebody feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
How about performing the damn job?
Yeah.
From widget maker to Secret Service.
Yeah. It's honestly, I could go on about this for an hour because it's so unbelievable. Now, there's one other thing we have to address, which is, it is so unbelievable that some people say, because it's so unbelievable, it had to be more than what it seems to be.
I am so sympathetic. I'm painfully sympathetic with the people that say this level of buffoonery is impossible.
Yeah.
It could only be explained by intent.
Yeah.
And that this was a setup. And if I could stand back and objectively look at the matter, I would say you're 100% right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like my desire for it to not be true is what's keeping me from going full conspiracy. For some reason, I still have enough faith in the institutions of the state that I'm going to say it can't possibly be true. But if I were strictly looking at the facts, I would say this is a setup.
Well,
it couldn't possibly be this.
Let me tell you why I don't believe that
Please,
that it
talk
was a
me
setup.
off of this.
So you've heard of Occam's razor.
Yes.
That the simplest explanation should be preferred, right? There's also something called Hanlon's razor. And Hanlon's razor says, never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah, both of those should be at the front of all your evaluations, really.
So when I look at this thing, yes, it seems so incomprehensibly stupid and incompetent that it's like it begs you to believe a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
However, if I stop and say, well, wait a minute, what kind of incompetence could it be? It could be something like, every cop movie, every cop TV show has this tension about the feds coming in and taking over the local jurisdiction, right? There's always the local guys are doing something, then the feds come in and take it over, and there's like this conflict between them, right? So it's very easy to imagine some bureaucratic thing that says, no, we're going to give that to the locals and we're not going to intervene, right?
Crenshaw was very forgiving.
Yes, he was.
And this is a military guy, right? He's a Marine, he's been in battle and everything else and understands the chain of command, and he's like, look, can you imagine if it's a guy with a telescope that you just shot the head off of a Trump fan who just wanted to get the best picture that he could, and I was surprised that he was as
forgiving as he could be. So I think we really need to lean towards it's just some stupid misunderstanding and incompetence. Yes. I think,
but it takes all of my being.
Yes, it takes a lot of effort.
And all of my faith in America.
It takes a lot of effort to get to that conclusion.
All right.
So let's call that one over. Okay, so that was more than 5 minutes.
That was more than 5, but all right, we're doing fivers now.
Yeah. Okay, now we're doing fivers. Okay. You want to go with yours, or should we go with Ben Shapiro?
Well, whichever, whatever.
Oh, let's go with Ben Shapiro. No. Ben Shapiro says Social Security wasn't meant to provide benefits for 20 plus years, and thinks retirement is stupid.
All right. Well, let's also put in the context of how much money is involved.
Yeah.
Right. If it were a perfectly solvent endeavor, then this wouldn't be an issue. But the entitlements are running into, we're about to go over 50% of the government budget.
So back when President Franklin Roosevelt established 65 as the official retirement age, 65 versus 60.7 was the average life expectancy.
I want to challenge that. I'm trying, and I've looked into this, trying to figure out what does life expectancy mean. Are you factoring in all of the children that die before the age of 10?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
I think I want to hear life expectancy after 25.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And the thing that I read, this guy's he says, I'm calling Ben out on this when he says, at that time, at 65...
Because so many kids died in childbirth.
So many kids died in childbirth. Yeah. So I think that's what average means.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. So maybe what's a better rule is, once you get to 30...
Yes.
What's your life expectancy?
Yes, and I couldn't really find that.
Yes.
But I did see the number from this guy that criticized Ben's assessment.
Yeah.
Was saying that at 65, because there's this thing in longevity insurance.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, but it's true. The longer you live, the longer you live.
Yeah. Right?
Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It almost doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean?
No, it makes sense. So, no, it does make sense because if you get to 67, you're more likely to get to 68.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're 40, your chances of making it to 80 are not as great as if you're already 65.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
right.
what's going on.
So that is a very good point.
So the numbers were, now they're not as great as ours are, but at the time, he's been saying almost everybody dies before 65.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, if you reach 65, your chances, the number was you're likely to reach 12 years of retirement.
Yeah. You know, I have.
So that's a fair assessment.
Yes, I have a family tree at home that has my ancestors going back to quite a long time ago in Germany, and a lot of them got into their 80s. So, you know,
Yeah. It's
not like they were all dying.
So
at
this
60.
is what you hear. You hear. You know, back in the Middle Ages, you were old if you were 40.
I know it's not
Like,
true.
no, your body. We have the same bodies that they had. Our nutrition is better.
That's right.
But we're now hunkered over with a.
Yeah.
You know,
You
barely
don't
walk.
see a gray-haired old man with a cane at 45.
I mean, look, King. I mean, you know, there were old emperors
Yes.
and old kings, and so
Yes.
I think we messed that up.
Yes.
The other.
The other thing, though, I think is probably the more important statistic is the ratio between the number of people working and the number of people retired.
Yes. Yes.
And
So that's when the system can't hold up. So hold on, let me give you this guy's two criticisms.
Okay.
He says he's got this age thing,
Wrong. Yeah.
misconstrued.
Right.
The other thing is the idea that everybody finds their work so satisfying that they lose purpose and hate being retired and then just go off and die.
Some people do.
And
Some
that's
people
true.
do.
And
But-
that's true. But there are a lot of people who are, I mean, I'm sure this guy, you see what he does. Of course he's going to be fulfilled by his work. What if you're laying bricks at 65?
But there are a lot of people who find fulfillment in taking care of their grandchildren or working in their church or volunteering at the
I've never been
hospital.
able to travel. I've never seen any of the United States.
Yeah.
And now me and the wife are going to...
Or I'm going to read books or whatever the heck it is. A lot of people find fulfillment in a lot of other kinds of things.
But there's, I mean, and then on the flip side, yes, some people lose their sense of purpose and
die quickly. I mean, that's true.
But to make a broad statement like that is kind of elitist,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And so, but hold on, those are my two criticisms. But what were you saying? Oh, the insolvency of the
system. Yeah. So another thing that
the people paying in versus the people drawing in.
Yes, but another thing is Social Security tax only applies up to, I don't know, $120,000 or something. So if somebody's making $400,000, they're only paying Social Security tax on the first 120 or whatever the number is. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think one legitimate reform would be to say, no, you pay Social Security tax on your entire income.
Yeah, I remember working with a guy who just worked himself. The hours he worked were insane.
Yeah.
And then he actually found out, like, in October, that he no longer has to pay Social Security because he'd already maxed out his whatever. But I didn't even realize that was a thing. But
yeah, it is.
All right, anyway.
Okay, there we go. That's 5 minutes for the first one. So let's go for number 2.
Pigweed's calling BS.
On what?
I went to this... my grandson is brilliant, and he's in the tag program, but there's also another level above the tag program, which is the most exceptional of the tag program kids.
Right.
And we went to the ceremony. It was very nice. Few kids from each school throughout the state, some more, some less. And of course, there's a guy there, you have the administrator speaking, and then some girl comes up who is no doubt the best student in her school. And so she's the student opening ceremonies young lady.
Right.
And that's fine. And she starts with, when I was in elementary school, I was told that women couldn't be scientists.
Sure you are.
And I'm like, all right, so you went to school in 1962?
Right.
Then I did the math and realized it was just 10 years ago when all of her teachers were women and they were all in their 20s. And I'm saying, how many people in her life have told her that women can't be scientists.
Yeah, nobody.
Zero.
Yeah, zero.
Zero. Where did you get this idea?
The thing is that everybody has been taught that they have to have a persecution narrative.
Yes. Exactly. This is what I'm calling out. Go ahead.
Yeah. So everybody has been taught from a very young age that your problems are because other people are establishing expectations that aren't fair, and they're applying these things to you. And
she's
blah, blah, blah.
She's heard other women say similar things, and so she writes this lame speech.
And it's complete BS. Because
it's impossible.
Because
impossible
people have been trying to encourage girls to go into math and science and all this kind of stuff for.
And all your 20-something elementary school teachers who were all women were telling you, you can't be a scientist.
Yeah.
That it 100% never happened.
No.
Let me just stretch this out a little bit further. The college, the guy who gets drafted into college, the running back who's a little bit small, he says, they told me I would never make it in the NFL. I'm going, wait a minute. You went to Ohio State and got drafted into the NFL. If you were the best player in your county and probably your state, and you're telling me you were surrounded with who? Your coaches, your friends, your parents? Yeah. These people were all telling you.
Yeah, because coaches are always trying to tell people what they can't do.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure that happened a million times. Right. So what I'm calling out is this persecution complex.
Right.
And there are always two kinds of people, no matter where, and they're never the same. People do this 100 times, and I'm going to do it myself.
Okay.
And it's never true, but I'm telling you right now, there are two kinds of people. The two kinds of successful people.
Okay.
Successful people who acknowledge all of the people that contributed to their success.
Right.
I want to thank I want to thank my parents.
Right.
I want to thank my friends. I want to thank my coaches.
Right.
I want to thank there's that person,
yeah.
And then there's the everyone was against me, but I recognized that I could do this thing against all odds. Yeah. And guess what? There's a nice person and there's an a-hole in there. I'm not sure you can choose which. Take a guess at who is who. But
yes.
Anyway,
gratefulness is a moral virtue.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the other thing is a complete fraud.
Yes.
You're like you said.
It's a total lie.
It's being in love with the persecution complex.
Yes. No, there's no way in the world. That your coaches were telling you.
Parents.
You're just not that good.
I mean, you'll never make it to the NFL. You're too small. Everybody always told me I was too small to play in the NBA, but I'm here to prove everyone wrong.
That's not the way coaching works.
It's never happened.
It's never happened.
This is a personality flaw on your part.
Yes.
All right, I shaved off 30 seconds.
Okay, good. Let's move on to the next one. So we've got technology. So there's basically two views of technology.
Yeah.
It's going to kill us, or it's going to usher in a lovely new world.
Right.
So
why? What this is yours. Give me
okay. So basically, I think humans have two needs. The one need is exploration. We need to go and find out what's beyond the borders. We need to find out what else is out there. What's the new way to do things? We need to challenge assumptions. We need to do that. At the same time, we need to be afraid of contagions, of something that's going to come in and poison us, something that's going to destroy us. We need both of those instincts at the same time.
All right.
Okay? And that's basically a fundamental, written in our genes, necessity. We need to explore, and we need to be worried about contagions.
And there's a little left brain, right brain going on.
Yeah, could
look
be.
for danger while,
Yeah. Okay, so from the technology will kill us perspective, that's the fear of contagion perspective. Like, what is this thing going to do? It's going to replace our jobs. It's going to threaten privacy. There's going to be data breaches. It's going to lead to loneliness and depression and anxiety. It's going to weaken social bonds. It's going to all these new materials that we need for this new technology is going to pollute the environment. And so we're going to create more destructive weapons. Like, there's all these legitimate fears about technology. And
do you want to do both sides before I complain about that first guy?
No, go for it.
My complaint about the first guy is, you ungrateful fake hypocrite. You love modernity.
Mm-hmm.
You could not live for 5 minutes in 1840, scraping life off the land. And you have decided that instead of thanking science and technology for the wonderful air-conditioned life you have with your antibiotics and your Apple
advanced
and your
dentistry.
iPhone, your advanced dentistry, yes, your anesthesia.
That's right.
You're just going to gripe about how we've poisoned the waters and your global warming and all of that. 5 minutes, try it, faker. All right.
Okay. That's a fair response. And then the other point on the technology will kill us side is the computers will eventually find out that humans are actually a net problem, not a net benefit, and then they'll just kill us.
Well, so you remember Nick Bostrom, I was trying to think of his name the other day when we were talking about this, is the We Were Living in a Simulation guy.
Oh, right, yeah.
He says... he's completely afraid. He says, superintelligence is his book, Superintelligence, Paths, Dangers, Strategies, where he talks about all of the Terminator possibilities of AI.
And science fiction is just littered with this kind of problem.
Killing us. And he's like, they're not going to be, it's not that they're going to become sentient. They're in fact doing what they've been programmed to do, but we couldn't anticipate it.
Yes.
And so they said, all right, we need you to solve this problem. And then the computer goes, oh, well, one of the ways is
just to kill you all.
Yes, human beings are part of the problem.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we didn't mean that, and we forgot to program that in. And so he's got that level of...
Well, that is sort of the incompetence side of this. Like, we didn't think it through. We were sort of sorcerer. It's sort of a combination of the Sorcerer's Apprentice and incompetence, because basically what we're doing is we're meddling with things we don't understand. And we've awakened the genie, and then it comes back to...
all right, in this same article. So this is very, very, very important.
Yeah.
2018.
Okay.
So astronomer Martin Rees has publicly wagered that by 2020, bioterror or bioerror will lead to 1 million casualties in a single event.
Wow.
Well, what do you know? Harvard microbiologist calculated the likelihood of a lab-made flu virus leading to an accidental pandemic is between 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 10,000. Those are the chances that he thinks that something like that would happen.
And it happened.
It did happen. However, we've got this guy from Rotterdam who is one of the researchers in H5N1 studies. He says, no, he dismisses that estimate. He says the real risk is more like 1 in 33 billion per year.
Oh, come on.
I mean, come on. That's never going to happen.
Oh, no.
How? Well. Yes. What do we have here? So, we have, although I've bitched about the anti-technology people, you have people making some very legitimate arguments about technology killing us.
I know. So it's. I think this is a tension that we just have to live with. We have the it's going to kill us or it's going to save us, and both of them are true, and we have to kind of balance them. Right?
Just keep an eye on science.
Yeah.
Science.
Okay, so here we go. Everybody wants to save the world, but nobody wants to do the dishes.
Okay, well, tell me what this one's all about.
And so this one is about a saying that I saw somewhere and sent to Captain Crowhill, and Captain Crowhill made it into a plaque on the wall of the kitchen.
Okay.
and I saw it, and I just thought, yeah, exactly. So, but I've also heard this. I was in a networking meeting, and I heard all these people talking about their desire to do work that makes the world a better place. And I have several different reactions.
Not that I hate the idea of making the world a better place.
Exactly. We obviously want people to make the world a better place.
Come on, go ahead.
Do you really think you're competent to do that?
Yeah.
Do you really think you have the knowledge, the competence, the awareness, the whole picture that you worm, are going to be able to figure out a way to make the world a better place? Do you really think that?
Sometimes, language evolves, and there are new hip terms and fun phrases, and I tend to shy away from, attaching myself to them and using the newest cool terms.
Yeah.
But of the last 5 years, virtue signaling is my favorite go-to term.
It is such a good
I'm
term.
like, I totally get it. So, so you mean signing a petition and putting a bumper sticker on your car and
putting something on my Facebook profile.
Oh yeah, Facebook profile. I stand with Ukraine.
Right. And you're making the world a better place because you do these things. And like in your real life, the things that are actually affecting other people, you're like demoralizing your children the way you behave, and you're not being nice to your neighbor, and you're driving like an idiot, and all these practical things where you're making life worse for other people. Right. But I do have the right symbol in my social media account.
Yeah. The whole bumper sticker thing is all right. If you work for an oceanic organization, you can put Save the Whales,
right?
But just Johnny Midwestern guy.
Yeah, what do you know about?
What are you even doing? Yeah.
So
I know about the complicated
I've got
situation.
3 versions of this that I wanted to mention to you. Tell me what you think of this. So, version 1 is the nurse. I want to develop a skill to do some tangible good. Number 2 is the evangelist. I want to impose my ideology on everybody else. Number 3 is the politician. I want to do something that benefits me and sell it as a moral good.
Ooh, burn.
Right?
Yeah.
So the nurse who says, I want to make the world a better place. I want to keep people from dying. I want to make
one personal contact at a time.
Right. I want to find somebody who's suffering, and I want to ease their suffering. Okay? That's lovely.
Yeah.
And, that's a wonderful thing. Then you have the sort of ideologically driven person from a secular or religious perspective, however you want to do it, and they think the world would be so much better if everybody thought the way I think.
Okay.
Right? And they're out to convince everybody of their perspective.
But they are, in fact, getting out there.
Yeah.
I'll give them that much, and there are hopefully not entirely self-serving. They are maybe deluded.
Yeah.
But they are earnest, and they're making actual effort. They're making more effort than slapping on a bumper sticker and a Facebook.
Yeah. Now here's we need to address the Jordan Peterson angle on this. Is before you try to fix the world, why don't you clean up your bedroom?
That is so good.
And the reason that's so good is
seems
because
silly, but
it does seem silly.
Not that silly.
At first, it seems ridiculous, but when you think about it, you say, "Well, wait a minute. There's a lot of things going on in my bedroom." There's organizing a bedroom is not a simple task. You have to think about, well, there's dependencies. I come home with stuff in my pocket, and there's other kinds of things going on. So first, demonstrate some competence in a relatively small thing.
Right.
Before you think you're going to go out and change the world with your brilliant ideas. You have all these people who can't make their bedroom neat, who think they're going to solve all these other problems.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm going to lie to you.
All right. So that's the end of the 5 for 5.
Yeah, we're done?
We're done.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have, I think you had a question.
Oh, no. I got a letter from, I don't think you've seen this one here. You remember the Put Down Your Phone show?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Yeah. So
Inigo Montoya says, can you give me a reference? What?
Inigo Montoya is from Princess Bride.
Is You Killed My Father?
That's right. Let's see.
My name is
Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That's a fun username.
Yeah.
He says, after seeing this, he asks, "Sounds like you two are a couple of raw doggers. Do you guys raw dog?"
I don't know what that means.
I'm passing that on to you. Do you raw dog?
I don't know what raw dog means. Does that mean eating a hot dog without cooking it?
No, it doesn't. He sent me a link to Matt Walsh,
Okay.
who commented about what raw dogging is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's the newest viral trend that describes people sitting on a flight with no entertainment or without consuming any content. And Matt Walsh says, are we so distracted as a society that we have made a dumb trend out of something so normal? So you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
So as we said in the show, what's wrong with being in a doctor's office and just sitting there like a person?
Right.
Well, now it's been elevated to a YouTube, Instagram event. So you film somebody actually sitting and doing nothing at all.
Maybe they're thinking.
Yes, and that is so bizarre.
Yeah.
To young people that they consider this to be a viral trend that needs to be shared with others, and they give it an aggressive name and quasi-sexual sounding name to doing nothing.
So I remember distinctly driving around one time with my dad. I think this was back when I had my learner's permit. I'm driving, my dad's in the passenger seat, and I turn on the radio. And I said that, I like to listen to the radio while I'm driving. And my dad said, sometimes it's nice to just, have your own thoughts.
That is such a great dad thing to say.
I know. At the time, I thought, I guess.
I thought you're all right. I thought you're always supposed to have the radio on.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it possible that...
Isn't it possible?
Maybe sometimes you should have some quiet time where you're actually thinking?
From what I see here... I don't know if you can only raw dog on a flight. Can you raw dog in a dentist's office, or can you raw dog, on a train?
How about this? I go swimming 3 times a week.
Can you raw dog in the pool?
I can't read a book while I'm swimming. And now there are some people at the pool who get these headphones.
What? That's a real thing?
Oh, yeah. They get these underwater headphones, and they have a thing to, listen to a podcast or a book.
I cannot spend 2 seconds. I see
exactly. I can't for a minute be away from some sensory input.
I see people, hiking on the Appalachian Trail.
But yeah, listening to headphones.
Can you just smell the environment and walk in the woods
and think and don't you have any
so
things to think about?
I never would have considered myself a raw dogger, but under the conditions here, this is the definition.
Okay,
I guess
that's what it is. We're raw dogs.
We're raw dogging.
I don't like that name.
I know it sounds just there's something I don't know what there is about it.
Yeah, it sounds bad. It sounds bad, But yeah, okay, I'm a raw dogger.
Okay, here to raw dogging.
You okay?
All right. If it just means doing nothing, that's
what it is. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.